Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another edition of Surviving the Holidays. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan, senior pastor of the City of Hope Community Church located in the great city of Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm here today with my partners in grief, my PIGs, y'all pigs, my partners in grief. I love it. Y'all good pigs. I'm here with my partners in grief. And we're here to help you survive the holiday season. I have with me the Reverend Dr. Mark Fisher, who's in the building today. Dr. Soon to be Dr. Ashlyn Douthit, a licensed marriage family therapist and grief coach extraordinaire, Ray. We're helping you today, and I love today's topic, y'all. It is healing is not linear. Healing is not linear. You may be asking yourself the question, what does that mean? Well, we are committed and dedicated to giving you tools, tips, and techniques to help you survive the holidays. We're going to let Dr. Douthit come in to talk to us about this particular tool of understanding that healing is not linear. That seems complicated, Dr. D. Help us out.
Yeah, so a lot of times people can think about their growth in a certain area and look at it as like, okay, well, if I'm no longer sad, that means I am healing, I am growing. And if I experience any type of sadness, maybe or grief or frustration, that must be a setback. But in reality, that's not the case. Um, to kind of get into a little of the psychology of it, it's like our brains. Um, naturally kind of look at these situations a certain way. So when we kind of continue to, well, really emotions in general last 90 seconds. Although it may not feel like that, our emotions last not the physiological reactions that tie to emotions last 90 seconds. What keeps them going is the way we think about it. So as we're going through the process of grief, we're not only dealing with the physical emotions that are tied to it, we are also now having to learn how to reframe how we think about these things. So when you're going through that process, that's not going to happen overnight, because likely some of the ways that you've thought about these things, some of the ways that you've handled grief have been long standing. So it is going to take time to learn new patterns and ways of doing things. So it may feel like one day you're progressing and the next day you may feel like you're having a setback. But that doesn't mean that healing is not happening.
Man, come on through physiological. I told y'all she the doctor. She know the big words. She can break it down. That's amazing. You said 90 seconds, but we keep replaying it a certain way. So you
Yeah.
said we got to reframe our thought. Can you just jump a little bit back into that just a little bit? How do we go
Yeah.
about reframing our
hmm
thoughts?
Yeah, so our brain is made up of different neural pathways. And when we continue to experience like a similar situation, those neural pathways become stronger. So it's like if you're learning to walk, the more you practice that, the more that particular neural pathway is in your brain is strengthened. That happens with everything that we do. So if we go through some, let's say, some stressful or traumatic situations, we strengthen that pathway every time we go through something similar. Now, now what happens is we have to then look at that and say, how have I been dealing with this? Has this been a helpful way? Have I been mindful about how I've been navigating these situations? So one of the things that first needs to happen is being aware of what our process is in these moments of how we've been dealing with it. And then from there, having to say, what about this works? What about this maybe needs to be adjusted a little bit?
Man, that's good. That's good. Ray, talk to us. Healing is not linear. Help us out.
Healing is not linear. And Dr. Dothan, when you were speaking, what I thought about was Paula Abdul's song. She said 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, right? And so that happens when we are in a space of healing. And the other thing that came to mind for me is that if we look at a monitor, if we look at a monitor in the hospital or the doctor's office, we see the lines doing this. Right? That means that we are alive, even if we are not as alive as we want or need to be. But if that line stops, then that means we are not alive. And that is the same thing that happens with our healing process. We're going to have highs, we're going to have lows, we're going to have ups, we're going to have downs. And that lets us know that we are progressing. That lets us know that we are moving, even if we are not taking gigantic steps. The thing that you say at the end, and I'm probably about to mess this up, Pastor Duncan, but you say small steps lead to great success, destination, distances, all of that, all of them, right? So as long as you are taking a step, then that's what's most important. We can't expect for our healing to look like somebody else's healing, because we're two different people, and it's just not going to work out that way, right? Our creator God is so amazing that our two hands aren't even the same. So how dare I think that the same experience that I'm having with healing is what somebody else is going to have, or what somebody else had is what I'll have. And so what we have to do is remember that that's the part of the journey. And actually, I think that that's what makes us hopefully look forward to the journey, because we won't experience the same thing twice.
Girl, yeah, she's not just a grief coach, y'all. She's a pastor. This is the pastor in there. When you took me to the bleep, girl, you better come on with the highs and lows. Yeah. That was powerful, and it's so true. It's so true. We got highs, we got lows, but man, look, it's an all-star cast, y'all. I'm telling you. I mean, we're not paying them hundreds of $1,000s for nothing. Look, we were able. Look, this is good. It is not linear. There is no straight line. There's gonna be highs. There's gonna be lows. We have to navigate through them all. Come on, Pastor Reverend Dr. Fisher, help us out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that's important to understand is healing looks different for everyone, and I it's not a straight line. It's going to have its ups and its downs, but I think of it like, that of a wound. As you have a wound and you're starting to go on the cusp of the wound healing, and somehow, some way in the course of the wound healing, it forms that scab. But as the scab starts to come on board, it ends up having something that causes the scab to come off for whatever reasons. And as I look at that as a part of the healing process, as we go through, there's going to always be something in your healing journey that's going to cause that scab to come off. And you're going to find yourself saying, ouch. You're going to find yourself saying, what did I do? How did I get back here again? I thought I was on, the straight and narrow, getting myself to where I needed to be. But that wound is going to continuously being healed as a part of the process. And we have to remember it's okay if that wound cracks, or if the scab comes off or whatever. That's a part of the process. The healing journey looks different for everyone. Just understand that starting out, so that the disappointment doesn't set you back or doesn't get you to a place where you feel as though I can't go on or I can't continue to do this. Healing is not the same. It doesn't look different. You never see a person, as I think Ray said, or Dr. said, nobody's scars are the same. If you go into surgery, everybody's scar is going to look different. So we've got to remember that healing process in and of itself is going to look different as well. So we've got to prepare ourselves. We've got to be mindful of that, and not set ourselves up to expectations where the outcome is going to set us apart because of the fact that we have false thoughts as to what it should be, when we know it's not going to be that way. So healing looks different for everybody, and we got to prepare ourselves for that in the journey. Starting out, we got to be prepared, because if not, it's going to hurt worse than it possibly should, because we've set some false expectations.
Oh, look, I think this is my most favorite one thus far. Last week, y'all, it was the 10-year anniversary of my father passing, and I'm thinking that as I navigated through my grief journey, my healing journey, it was 10 years. It's been 10 years. When I tell you this year was the hardest one, minus like the first or the second one, I'm thinking I'm over the hump. I'm thinking but when I tell you, I'm sitting up and just crying out the blue, like just sitting there. And I'm just like, just so super emotional. I don't know if it was because it was a 10-year anniversary. I don't know if it's because it was compounded grief and there's other stuff going. I don't know what it is, but when I tell you this one, healing is not linear, it is not linear. It is. You got the ups and downs. The scab comes off, it breaks. You got the hurts, but it's all a part of the journey. I wish there was a way over it. I wish there was a way under it. I wish there was a way around it. Remember that song we used to sing, Mark? God's got a way. You can't go over, you can't go under, you can't go around it. You must come in through the door. And the reality is, when it comes to grief, when it comes to healing, look, you have to go through it. Yeah. You have to grow. And it's not a straight line. You have to go through it. You're going to have some good days. You're going to have some hills to climb. You're going to have some weary days and some sleepless nights. But embrace the chase of the journey and let God do everything that he desires to do in healing your heart. We love y'all with the love of the Lord. We look forward to spending this time again with you tomorrow. Remember, small steps, they lead to great distances. Now you know.